Hello again, friends. This is Jess from J Rose Alchemic Art, and today we're back with another video to talk about prepping for two back-to-back markets. At the time, I did not realize that they were both going to be happening literally the following weekend. So when I finally realized, oh yeah, they're both coming up at the same time, there was a lot of prep that had to be done. Lots of new clay things. I made some new sticker designs and brought those with. So we'll go ahead and talk about everything that I did to help prepare for it. A little bit of sales, and both of them uniquely were my first outdoor events. So I'll kind of talk about that in the video as well. But for now, go ahead and grab a drink and a snack if you're hungry, and we'll go ahead and get started. So here we have all of the latest clay things that I've made over the last couple of weeks. You might recognize some of them from some of my latest vlogs, but I had to go back and actually make sure that all of them were glazed so that they were ready for when the markets were coming. One thing I did find a little difficult was trying to decide how much I should price everything. So I kind of broke it down by like how much supplies I used, so like how many different pieces of clay that I used, how long it took me to make it, things like that. So for example, this little clay pumpkin patch friend here, he was a little bit more expensive. He was closer to $17, whereas like you can kind of see in the background there's a little clay coffee ghost. It's only $4. It was pretty easy to make, not that many details or anything. But yeah, another thing that you have to consider is just making sure that you glaze these properly in a timely manner, because while it is important to make sure that everything has enough time to dry, you know, it's not going to get super sticky or anything like that, it is important to do all this before, you know, the day of the market. Sometimes that happens, but yeah, and try to be all finished with your prep beforehand if you can. So yeah, you can see here now that the little clay ghost friend that's just holding a coffee cup actually like didn't take that many materials or take me that long to sculpt. So that is why it's priced a little bit cheaper. When we move on to the little clay graveyard right next to it though, that obviously did take a little more time with the supplies that were needed for the brown of the like haunted tree and like the roots that are coming out, the little gravestones. You do have to take those factors in consideration, because all of those like slabs of clay that I use, depending on what I get, can be up to $3 to $4. And then obviously if I use any mica powder to change the color, things like that, it does add up. So, and you want to make sure that you're properly paying yourself as well as like getting your supplies back as well. So I definitely think it's important to consider these factors when you're actually going to price whatever you're selling. Whereas this was a totally detailed piece, it took me several hours to make this as well, because it was supposed to be kind of like a scene inspired by the Haunted Mansion with Madame Leota and, you know, using her crystal ball, but obviously we had to use some ghost forms here instead. But I ended up adding a little black cat here. I made like several little candles over on the side there and added little stems for the wicks as well. And those wicks actually had, some of them had a little bit of glow in the dark clay on it, so that it actually does glow when you turn the lights off and everything. The ghost glowed in the dark. The crystal ball was actually made out of a clear clay, so that kind of gave it a fun effect as well. And I ended up using some Posca markers here to draw in the cat's face, as well as little stars to the bottom of it to kind of give like a carpeted feel to the whole scene. And honestly, I really like how it came out. I was super pleased that someone actually did buy this when I was at one of my second outdoor markets, but we'll talk about those more in a little bit. For now, we'll do a little more prep. Okay, I have my little army of ghosts all done. I was gonna say, I think some of them are gonna be, like, the bigger ones are gonna be for the keychains that I'm gonna make, and then, like, these little ones are gonna be for these little graves that I have made. And I think I'll put, like, maybe put it off to the side so you can still kind of see most of the design. But then, I don't know, I might do another one and then use my orange clay here and maybe make like another pumpkin ghost. I think that'd be fun, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, and we have our little graveyard ghost army. Yeah, Graveyard Ghost Army all set up, and I think this is the one that I'm gonna use for my little pumpkin boo. And then there's still a couple left over here that are gonna be for the keychains. So these were kind of the bigger, thicker ones where I figured, you know, it would work best where I can actually like fit the little hook in. And then, oh, and then we have Caesar saying hello. And this little skull that I had done earlier as well. I think I'll actually probably bake it and then end up painting like maybe some flowers or something on it. Kind of give it a Dia de los Muertos idea. But we'll see how it goes. All kind of up in the air still for right now. Okay, and it is time. So we have made lots of little clay goodies here. There are more inside the Tupperware. However, it is time to bake them now. So what we're going to be doing is actually like getting the oven ready. We always put it to 275. Almost there. There we go. And then we're actually, like, these are all ready. I just want to make sure that we like smooth them out enough so that way they do stand upright when we have them up on our display. And obviously to, you know, have them upright for when people take them home. And one more over here. Good. Okay. And then inside of our Tupperware, we have a couple of items actually. So we do have our clay keychains, which you can tell that they're a little bit thicker. They also have the little circle thing. I cannot think of what the name is called, but the thing that like actually connects for the keychain, you know, that thing. And then we have our little skull. This is the first time I've tried to make this, and I think it's actually pretty cute, you know. But again, I think the ultimate goal is, let's move that out just a hair. Ultimate goal is like after we have baked it, then it's gonna get painted, and I think I'll put like some fun, like Cinco de Mayo, fun flowers, things like that on it. We'll see how it goes though. And then we have our last little ghosty with a pumpkin here, which I actually need to clean this off just a bit because unfortunately there was like a smidgen of dirt in there, or probably actually leftover residue from like other clay items. So I need to just clean this up a bit and then it should be good to bake. But yeah, lots of new clay things to go in the oven, and of course it'll be really fun when we can glaze them and paint them and do all the other little activities. So look forward to it soon. Okay, our oven is officially at 275. We're gonna go ahead and put all of these little goodies in here. I usually always bake it for about 15 minutes to start. Kind of test it and see like if some of the clay is still pretty soft, and I usually put it in for like another couple, like maybe 5 minutes. But obviously you have to keep an eye on it because you don't want the clay to burn. I actually had that happen before with one of the clay cookie ghosts actually. But it kind of gave it a unique little edging to it, so it's kind of fun anyway. But yeah, definitely important because obviously you don't want your clay to burn, and you know, it just doesn't look as professional obviously. So we'll go ahead and slip these in here real quick. In they go, and we'll go ahead and come back in 15 minutes. Okay, our timer just went off. Let's go ahead and get the oven open. Yeah, these look pretty good. Let's just double check. Oh yeah, okay. These I think are ready to go. So we'll go ahead and take these out. We'll let them cool outside here for a bit. It's just better for it to be all cool before we do anything else with them. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get them out and let them cool off for a bit. So yes, usually I let all my clay pieces cool off for about a day before I start to glaze them. So in the meantime, Prince had not had quite enough attention for a little bit, so he wanted to make sure that he let me know and was giving me plenty of biscuits. Okay, and we are in full market prep mode just a few hours before it actually starts, which it's fine. In the meantime, I've been making lots of new stickers. I've already messed up. I love this sparkly vinyl that I can put on there, but I always get too excited about doing it the first few times and I mess up actually placing it on the sheet. So there's a couple of duds, but otherwise they did turn out super pretty. If this will focus, there it is. There we go. So got quite a few to get through here. I got another one that I just printed out. All the stickers are here and ready to go that I've had made otherwise. We have all of our enamel pins and our pillows, keychains, that kind of stuff. Our clay things are all over there. Again, if you can zoom in, there we go. So yeah, now it's just a matter of like getting it all together. Oh yeah, and then my bag of like, there's paper bags to like give to people when they buy things, different tissue papers, stuff like that to kind of protect stuff. So lots of things to still do. And my dad is actually gonna pick me up in an hour so we can like go over and get everything set up. But for now, we're gonna try and get all this finished. So yes, while I might have been scrambling the day of to get everything ready, this was the actual setup for my first outdoor market, and I think it turned out really well. Well, this is the second day. Early morning, it's about 8:45-ish right now. Getting ready to have breakfast. I actually sold quite a few clay pieces yesterday, so I went ahead and made some new ones last night, to replace. So I made another pumpkin patch with a different green clay this time for the grass. I made a little gravestone because those also got sold. And then I made a new little design, this little wizard ghost. I think I'm gonna draw like maybe dots or stars or something on his hat and try to glaze everything super quick before I have to go and get prepared to sit up again this morning. But in the meantime, got to eat a berry bar, got some water, and we will be good to go. And this was actually the look from behind the table. So again, I really liked the setup this time around, and I did have to stash some things under like boxes and what have you, so that way it kind of looked cohesive. But overall, a really good market. I did end up making the table fee back. It was definitely the most expensive market that I had done so far, but it was a good result. I did make back the table fee and I made a little bit of profit, so not a bad thing. One thing I will say about outdoor markets though is that definitely consider with whatever market or convention or anything that you're going to be doing, if there is another event happening at the same time that day or that weekend, whatever it might be, you might not be getting as much foot traffic. So definitely check and see, like, is this event going to be marketed very well? Do people know about it? Definitely something to think about. Also, thankfully, the days that we were there, the weather was perfect, honestly, but there was a band playing, and because nothing wrong with having live music or anything like that, but it was pretty loud, so I feel like most people they didn't want to talk for very long. They just kind of walked along, didn't ask a whole lot of questions. So not a whole lot of great foot traffic, but that's okay. It ended up being fine, but definitely something to consider. So the lovely thing about being in between our markets was that this Art Snacks Ink Challenge box came right in between, which was great because I knew I wanted to take part in it. I ended up doing another challenge at the same time, so I didn't actually get to finish all the prompts. I did plan them all out, but I never actually finished putting them all on ink and paper, but that's okay. We still have time, obviously. They can still be done whenever you need it to be done. So, but I really enjoyed this box, and actually the artist that worked with Art Snacks at the time, Toxic Moxie, if you follow her on Instagram, super nice. Her art is wonderful, and I love all of her little ghosts, so this was actually the first time that I'd really been working with a lot of like ink, paper, or ink challenges, so definitely an adjustment for me, considering I'm more, even in traditional work, I usually only use pencils or colored pencils, sometimes markers, but that's okay. So because I did end up selling so many clay pieces at my last market, I needed to go ahead and prepare for the next one. That was literally the next Saturday and Sunday. This one would actually be a little bit longer. For the previous market that I did that was in the city, it ended up being from like 11 to 5 and 11 to 3 both days. Whereas this one was going to be like 9 to 5, so full, like had to be set up the whole time and everything. But obviously we need to give attention to the cats. Buffy has been super playful lately, and he's finally getting some weight on him, which is super awesome because when we first adopted him he was only 4 pounds. But so because I did end up selling a lot of my clay pieces at the last market, I needed to make a bunch of new ones, so I ended up making several new wizard ghosts and some more of the clay keychains. So those actually did sell very well, and I also made another clay breakfast ghost here. So a lot of fun making all of them. But again, I pretty much kept the same setup for this market as well, since it was also outdoors. The weather was not as nice as the previous weekend, which is unfortunate. And it was also out in the countryside, which is not a bad thing, but because it's in a smaller town, not as many people came by. So the cost for that table was actually $50 for the weekend, which is actually great. But again, I didn't really sell as much as I did at the previous market. So again, all things to consider with, especially with outdoor markets, weather, where it's located, how many people are potentially going by, that sort of thing. But that is actually all for this video, friends. I do hope you enjoyed my little look into how I prepped and ran my own little outdoor markets. Obviously, you know, not everyone's experience is going to be the same, so hopefully you can take some of these tools and tricks and make them work for you a little bit better. So until the next one, have a wonderful day.